Yo guys, welcome back to another Danmachi Memoria Freese video. Okay, so I said I was going to do a should you summon, and I'm doing a should you summon now. Admittedly, usually I would spend a little bit more time speaking to people in the community and and you know, getting varied opinions from more experienced players, but unfortunately I didn't have that time. So we're working. I'm like, this is a disclaimer. I'm just throwing this out there now. So I have spoke to a few people, just not as many as I would usually do. So let's put it that way. Right. So we're going to look at the upcoming Is It Okay to Roleplay in a Dungeon banners, as well as the units. The banners themselves are split up. I honestly, one of the things I think I want to throw out right off the bat is that this is an actual adventure Hestia, and for collection purposes, like if you are a collector over gameplay mechanics and meta, then obviously this is probably going to be a big pickup for you, because how often are you going to get you know, a god or goddess as an adventurer? Like if I recall correctly, we have a an adventurer, Hermes, from the Kino's Journey collab, but that's like a really old unit. Chances of using him, if you have him, that is, are very slim. So just rarity alone is probably something you want to take into consideration if you're thinking about collection purposes. As for the rest of the units, I mean, cross-dressing bell, I don't know. You want to say that's rare? That might add rarity to it. I don't know. But that's all for that banner. I'm not gonna lie. I do think like the whole Demon Lord niche gimmick that they have going on makes these at least a little bit, in terms of collectability, makes them more valuable, seeing as I really doubt, unless a collab comes along with, like, you know, how not to summon a Demon Lord or something like that next year, I seriously doubt we're going to get units that look like this again anytime soon. Let me just say that, anytime soon. I don't want to put a guaranteed no, they're never coming back, or nothing like this is ever going to happen again. But just in terms of artwork, chances are this may be a little bit rare. I mean, actually, Halloween maybe something, but Halloween usually doesn't follow the sort of, like, you know, demon lord type shtick. I've said that twice already. But so in terms of banners, there's nothing really to say about like the chances or your chances or RNG, because they're 3-unit banners. Assists are harder to get than adventurers, so rates are going to remain the same. There's nothing different about the rates that should encourage or encourage, is that the word? Or you know, there's nothing that should or should not make you summon based on the rates, because the rates are basically the same as they will be on every other triple unit banner. So moving on to the actual units now, a big shout out to my man Yoko, who once again has hooked me up with these amazing custom made cards that he put out. I mean, like, literally he gave them to me yesterday so early, and I was like, jeez, you're on point, dude. Man, they look amazing. Thanks very much, Yoko. If you want to find Yoko, you can find him in my Discord, or even Pilk's Discord. If you don't know, well, I say Pilk, but Raptor's Delight, I'm sure most of you are probably some sub to him as well. If you're not, please jump over and give him a sub too. Anyway, so Magic Attack, Dark type. Now, this is relevant because I think it's been a while since we've had some actual updated Dark types. The last ones that I can recall are the Amazon twins, Tione and Tione, which I think was about, like, I want to say like 4 or 5, maybe even 6 months ago. And in a game like this, 6 months is enough time to be at least somewhat power crept. Even, you know, even if it's just subtly, like in stat scaling and things like that. So it's important to note that Dark in general could probably do with an update currently. The stats themselves are great. She is Dragon Killer. I won't bring up the Dragon Killer model. I'm pretty sure there are a decent number of Dragon Killer, and that's important because, you know, for familiar events, Familiar Rush or Familiar Royale, depending on what it is, Dragon Killer is probably going to be the next one. Yeah, it's probably going to be the next one. So let's look at the skills again. Her SA is an AoE, ultra dark magic attack, temporary great magic boost, and shortens status buffs by 3 turns. This is clearly and evidently another unit designed for war games. Now, I'm not a war game player. I don't really enjoy war games. I get to King 1 at most, sometimes just a 3 if I feel like putting in the effort. But King 1 is basically where most people want to just sit. and it's where most people should be able to get to. It's quite easy. Once you've been playing the game for a few months, it's usually quite easy to get to King 1 anyway, so it shouldn't really be that much of a task. It's just remembering to do the runs for me. That's my issue. But no, the great temporary magic boost on there, it's probably going to hurt. There's no percentage modifiers, which is okay, I guess. But the reduction of status buffs by 3 turns. Now, I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not sure how valuable that's going to be. Again, I've said this before. I don't think you should value or scale the value of a unit based on the SA, especially when it comes to Wargame, because that's like trying to create value out of something that is literally going to be luck of the draw. Like, if she survives to a turn where you're going to be able to use her SA, how noteworthy is that SA going to be to your victory or your loss? It still matters, don't get me wrong. I just don't think it is the priority here when, deciding whether you should summon or not. I'm not saying it's a bad SA. Reducing buff durations, I don't know. Okay, let me reword this. Reducing buff durations with your SA for war games, probably not going to be as important to you, because by the time you get an SA, chances are you're about to finish off the enemy anyway. So removing buffs at that point may not be that important. Anyway, right, skill 1 is an AoE mid dark magic attack with a high penetration rate, temporary magic boost, and removes agility buffs. 2 additional actions. Now, we are seeing a number of units lately for Wargame that remove agility buffs, and that's important because, well, let's be fair, it's been a while now that agility buffing, or like, well, let's throw out there, they've non-stop, every time banners came out, they tried to counter Lied more and more because he just, buffed his agility and all that, and he was extremely fast, and I feel like that's where they're going with this. Not to counter Lied specifically, but we've now got, I think this is like the 3rd or 4th unit that's come out for Wargame, consecutively, that has agility buff removal. So they I don't know, for me it feels weird considering the higher you go in Wargame, the less agility seems to matter, because everyone's running magic units with fast modifiers on their skills. But so it just makes the combat in the mid levels around King 1 getting to just a 3 more difficult, I suppose. The skill 2 is an AoE fast high dark magic attack, removes all magic resist buffs and AoE damage taken buffs, self magic plus 85%. So not only is on one skill she going to remove agility buffs, on another skill she's making sure that you cannot create stall teams. The anti-stall in this game, like, they really, I don't know, like, they present you with units to be like, yeah, play stall, you're gonna love it, it's toxic, and then they were like, you know what? I know we said play stall, but fuck you. How about that? Like, and then finally, skill 3 is a single target super dark magic attack, high penetration rate, and temporary magic boost. No percentage modifiers on that. I do like units that have some usability outside of, or well, units that are not relegated specifically to one game mode. Obviously, relegation to game modes is dependent on your SA as well, so I wouldn't be using her SA in Record Buster, that's for damn sure. But, if I'm short on dark units, which I'm actually not, but if you were short on dark units, at least you would have skill 3 to put in some work if you needed to fill a spot for a dark unit. We're not going to look at the passives. I feel like passives are important to a certain degree, but they're generally often the same across every unit, if not the majority of units. They just change depending on the element. So light resist counters are, dark element, 15% damage on penetration, plus 50% counter damage, 30% magic, agility, and dexterity, and then dragon killers. Okay, right, so we're moving on to the next unit because I feel like I'm gonna make this video too long. We're already at 9 minutes, so I do apologize for that. Okay, next is the Aspie. She looked good. It looks good. The artwork. Again, we have another magic attack dark type. Dragon killer, nothing more really to be said. She does have just a slightly lower magic stat than the eyes, but not enough to be like highly noticeable by most players. Only if you're going to sit down and bust out the calculator and do the damage predictions and things like that does it really make a difference, and that literally is micromanaging your gaming, and I don't think that's necessary because RNG is always going to be a factor. Anyway, her SA also is an AoE, which means I'm assuming she's supposed to be a wargame unit, which is odd that they put both wargame units or 2 wargame units on one banner together. They usually don't do that, but I'm not complaining. You know, some of you guys out there that may want a better wargame team could benefit from this quite highly, and I think that's something to take into consideration when debating whether you should be summoning or not here. Anyway, SA is an AoE ultra dark magic attack, temporary magic boost, and allies guard rate and counter rate plus 100%. Yeah, I'm not gonna be. I will not. I refuse to use that anywhere but wargame. And then even then, it's not as if you have a choice about, you know, which SA you're going to get to. Like I said, RNG is a huge factor, and SAs really should not be the deciding factor of whether you summon a unit, summon for a unit or not. Like in wargame specifically, or for wargame specifically. Guard rate and counter rate plus 100%. Crazy buff, might I add. Like for wargame especially, and significantly, is a huge buff. But I don't know. I don't know about this one. Skill 1 is an AoE fast low dark magic attack. Agility and dexterity minus 30%. Allies counter rate and dark attack damage plus 50%. This skill alone is probably a good enough reason to try and get 1 copy for her as a sack unit, because I'm not sure. I do not think we have a unit that buffs allies 50% on dark damage as of yet. Skill 2 is an AoE mid dark magic attack, magic boost, temporary magic boost, and magic resist and endurance minus 35%. For 3 turns, allies extend their buffs by 2 turns. That's sweet. And then skill 3 is a single target high dark magic attack with a high crit rate and a temporary magic boost. No percentage modifiers on this whatsoever. In terms of damage for that, I'm not sure how that would work. I don't really think that she's going to hit that high, or that hard, I should say. But I'm looking at the skill 1 and I'm thinking that's probably reason enough to at least try and get 1 copy, especially if you're running the, like I said, Dark probably could use an update. And if you're not going to go all in, because it's sad that these are sort of relegated to wargame, or at least primarily wargame. You can take them elsewhere. Obviously they have single target attacks, but Dark could probably use a little bit of love. It's been a while since we've had some good Dark units, like some updated ones. So maybe the skill 1 is probably the only thing of value here in terms of summoning. If you're an older player, if you're a newer player and you like just started the game and you've got money to burn, these look like good banners. Not extravagantly amazing banners, but they look like good banners to start with. And then we go to the Hermes. I said this yesterday, man. I would rock the top hat, but nothing else. A good magic stat, and the ability there is minus 20% dark resist and minus 10% agility. Now, while he is the less appealing unit on these banners in terms of artwork and what he does, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have missed out on an assist that gives dark resistance debuff, and I honestly think it's worth diving into a banner to at least get 1 copy to have that element resistance debuffing is always going to be strong, because it's one of those debuffs that if you ever watched my back to basics beginner guide, you'll know that you should have a checklist of things that you have in your team when you're creating a team for any game mode. You know, do you have physical resist, magic resist debuff? Do you have an element resist debuff? Like, lowering the elemental resistance of whatever element your team is significantly important, and I don't think it should be ignored. And I know for a fact that I don't think we've had an assist that lowers dark resist for a while now. I know specifically that I missed out on both. I have wedding seer, like wedding dress seer, and that's like, she's not even MLB. She's not a good assist to run for dark units, especially when I have other units to buff them. I just don't have the resistance debuff. So he may be a good pickup for that, especially, like I said, dark element does need a little bit of love. Moving on to the next banner, we have the earth magic attacking Hestia. Like I said before, just the fact that she's an adventurer alone bumps up her value in terms of collection considerably, I would say. No idea what weapon she is gonna use, because I'm pretty sure this is the first adventurer Hestia we're gonna have. Magic stat 2002. I like it. Cool. It's sitting on the same benchmark or around the same area as the other units. She also is Dragon Killer, by the way. And then she's straight off the bat, her SA single target. She's going to be the SA unit for these banners. Ultra Earth magic attack, temporary great magic boost, removes strength and magic buffs. I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be designed for whatever Familiar Rush or Familiar Royale they throw at us for stage 3. Skill 1 is a self earth damage and SA gauge gain plus 100%. She buffs her earth damage by 100%. That's kind of crazy. Add 3 additional actions of a low earth attack. Skill 2 is a magic attack, magic resist, minus 35%, and a self magic buff of 50%. So she buffs both her element and her type damage and lowers magic resistance, which is always cool. You would literally just need an earth resistance debuffer. Oh god, we've skipped ahead there, sorry about that. And then finally, skill 3 is a slow high earth magic attack plus 85% skill damage per magic resist debuff on the enemy, and shortens magic resist debuffs on the enemy by 2 turns. Okay, so this is going to be one of those skills that hits considerably hard, or is supposed to, but at a cost. So every time you use it, you're going to lose 2 turns of magic resist debuff, which, I mean, 2 turns seems real steep. I think so far we've either had them remove all buffs, we've had them lower buffs or lower debuffs by 1 turn. I'm pretty sure this is the first time I've seen one lower a debuff by 2 turns, which means you're going to have to like reapply it, I guess, which kind of sucks because in this, because they've added the additional actions, it means depending on how you play her, you'll have to reapply those additional actions, you know, either on the turn they run out or the turn after they run out, to make sure you're consistently getting those additional actions. And then you may have to reset the magic resist debuff, because you only get it for 3 turns. And even when if you're running Haruhime, she extends them, I'm pretty sure you're still going to just stay even and have like 1 turn left of the debuff. I don't know how you would do that. It probably makes more sense to try and check that out once she's in game. But here's hoping that the damage output on that is worth the sacrifice of the debuff. Then we move over to the the cross-dressing bell physical attacker earth unit. Stats are great as always, and as they would be. AoE earth, ultra earth physical attack, temporary great strength boost, earth resist minus 100%. Now this I'm pretty sure has been fixed now. It's not minus 100% earth resist, it's plus 100% earth damage. Either way, that's still a great buff. Depending on your record busters, you may want to get 1 copy as an int sack unit, like keep him alive until turn 4, use his SA to get the 100% earth damage, and then let the whatever record buster boss is kill him with a turn 4 SA or their turn 4 SA, and then bring in your last unit. I mean, you would need Haruhime or someone that extends buffs on the field at that time though. Skill 1, AoE mid-earth physical attack, ultra uncounter, magic resist, physical resist, and endurance minus 30%. That's a very well-rounded skill. Skill 2 is a foe's fast high earth physical attack plus 25% damage skill per per magic resist and endurance debuff on the enemy. Allies 75% chance to nullify 1 magic attack excluding SA. Okay, I can dig that. Oh, use the mouse wheel again. Skill 3 is a single target super earth physical attack, ultra crit rate, temporary great strength boost. Again, no percentage modifier. Honestly, I'm not sure how hard these guys are going to hit with this skill 3. So it's best to sort of judge that when you get in game. I know you can trial them out, and if you're not aware that you can trial out any new banner unit in a war game scenario, you can just. You'll go into the set. I'll have to look it up. I'll have to put it in the comments of how to do it, because I myself have never used it. I've never needed to, but if you wanted to, it is a function in the game. The Leanate Assist is a minus 25% guard rate, single target damage taken plus 20%, and allies 25 MP regen per turn with a very high magic stat. Now, there are also these 2 banners, but to be fair, I'm not sure whether they're paid. Chances are they're not paid. The only ones I can see that would be of any notable value right here would probably be like the Vine or the Filvist for Wargame. Well, Filvist for Wargame and Vine, 1 copy as an int sack unit for Record Buster is extremely useful. But I wouldn't. Anniversary's coming up, and if you're free to play, you really should be trying to hold on to as much Iris as possible when not summoning on notable units. Overall, my advice, dark units are sort of outdated now. It's been a while, so if you do need to update your dark units, it may be worth investing. I don't see anything considerably worth going all in and spending everything on these banners. Me personally, I'm skipping these banners. I don't have a choice. I don't have any iris. Are they worth your money? They could be, depending on where your account sits right now. I don't think the dark units in terms of performance are going to be, you know, amazing. Obviously, they will power creep because stat scaling and percentage buff and debuff scaling is always going to keep increasing. That's how the game works. So they will be stronger than older units. So if you do need to adjust or update your dark unit pool, it might be worth it. Earth units, same scenario. I can't see anything significantly special in these units, despite how they look, and a couple of buffs here or there. And that is going to be everything. Like I said, guys, or like I say every video, the choice is completely up to yours. We've gone over, I've given my opinion on each unit, and I hope this has helped you make a decision as to whether you will summon or whether you should summon. Anyway, links will be in the description. I stream 3 days a week at the very least over on Twitch. Link to that is in the description. Discord's in the description. Everything's in the description. I love you guys, and I'll catch you later.